Hey, Jersey Devil 1976 here. Today we're going to be working with styrene. I'm going to be showing you some techniques and tools for cutting styrene sheet, strips, and tubes. So let's just go and get started. Here I just have a piece of styrene sheet. I'll show you how to cut this. Only need a couple tools. First being a metal ruler. You can use this obviously to make your measurements with. And then you will also use it as a guide for making your score line. Let's say I need to make a 1/4 inch strip. You're just going to come in here with your ruler and mark both edges. And then you're just going to line up your marks here. You're ready to cut. Now to cut it, just going to use a X-Acto blade with a number 11 blade on it. For thicker sheets, you can use this plastic cutter, but I'll show you that next. Now you don't need to try to cut through it in one pass, and you don't need to do like several score lines. You just need one pass to get a decent score line in this thinner sheet, and the piece will snap right off. Start back here and just drag it across. You see your score line there. Now because this is a thinner sheet and this is actually a thinner strip, you might find it a little bit difficult to try to break this piece off. What you can use is a pair of pliers like this. They don't have any teeth on it, so it won't damage the plastic. And you're just going to grip that strip right along that score line and just pull back a little bit just to separate that piece. Now with wider strips, it's a little bit easier to do with your hands because it's you got a little bit more leverage on it. It just breaks right off. Now if you're going to be doing thicker sheets like this, 0.60 or 0.80 or even higher, you are going to want to use this plastic cutter. If you try to make a score line with this X-Acto blade, you are going to have to do several passes to get a good score line in it. But then you run the risk of maybe your ruler moving and then you get like an uneven cut, or it kind of jumps that score line and ends up scratching the surface of the styrene. With one pass, you should be able to get a really deep score line with this. So just like before, go ahead and just measure out however wide of a strip you want. You line up your marks and just drag that really sharp tip right there along the edge. There you go. As you can see, it actually moves quite a lot of material on this thicker sheet. Again, it's a little bit of a... I actually can get this by hand. You just kind of work your way down that piece and just kind of until it falls back, and then pull it forward. It breaks right off. Okay, so now you got your strips. Now you can cut them up into smaller lengths for your parts. For thinner strips like this, I like to use this number 24 blade. It's a little bit heavier, so you can get through some of this thicker stuff a little bit easier, but I also like the angle on the blade, so you can work a little bit more upright. Now you really don't need to do a whole lot to cut this stuff up. Again, you would just take your ruler, make your measurements on it, then come back and just go ahead and just rock this blade back and forth just a couple times. And this will be enough just to get a nice score line in the plastic. And then the piece will snap right off. Same here with this .60. Probably do it a few more times. There you go. Now on strips wider than your blade, you will have to go ahead and just get out your ruler, and then you can go ahead and make the score line as you did before. Works just the same. There you go. Now if you want to cut some really thick strip like this, the knife probably isn't the best tool to use. You can make a score line in it and break it off, but it doesn't really break off even. It kind of breaks at an angle. Best tool I found to use for that is a miter box and hobby saw. Again, you would just mark your length, put it in your miter box. They have these channels in here to keep your piece nice and steady. Just going to cut off a little piece here. They have the channels for a straight cut and for your 45-degree angles. Just going to do a straight cut here. There you go, nice straight cut. Now with the saw, it does have a tendency to make all like this fuzz on it. What you can do to get rid of that, just come in with your sanding block here and just use that to clean up all that mess on it. The flat surface allows you to keep that nice straight cut that you just did. Piece a little stubborn there. Now for if you're going to cut styrene tube or rod, the best tool I found is this tube cutter. You can also use this for brass and aluminum, but it works just as well on styrene. Again, you would just mark your lengths, and then you're going to slide this in there and line up this little cutting wheel that's in here with your mark, and just clamp down on it just enough so that it doesn't move around, but you want to be able to spin this. This is what creates the score line on your piece. And you're just going to keep doing this until the piece breaks off. And you'll hear it. There it goes. So you get nice clean cuts on that. When you're doing a larger diameter tube, this has a tendency to kind of, as you're clamping down on it, to start crushing it. What you can do is take a piece that telescopes into it and slide it in there while you're cutting it. This will keep it from getting crushed. So that's just some the basic tools and techniques for cutting. I hope you all found it useful. If you have any questions or comments, please just let me know, and I'll see you all next time.